The state doesn't find you in a recruitment office. It finds you in a cold, concrete classroom in a city that smells of coal smoke and wet stone. You're 12 years old, and while the other children are playing in the dirt, you are staring at a flickering CRT monitor, solving mathematical proofs that should be impossible for your age. You live in a world of no internet, no travel, no choice. But you have a gift for the yes, the logic of the machine. You are prodigy in a regime that prizes absolute loyalty over individual genius, but for the Bureau, you are the raw material they've been searching for. The selection is silent and absolute. One afternoon, a man in a sharp, ill-fitting suit walks into your school. He doesn't look at your grades, he looks at your hands as you type. He doesn't ask if you want to serve. He tells you that you have been chosen for higher education. You are taken from your family, put on a train with blacked-out windows, and transported to a secret facility on the outskirts of the capital. This is your golden ticket. In a country where millions struggle for a bowl of rice, you are given a clean bed, 3 meals a day, and a high-speed connection to the outside world, a world you are told is your enemy. The contract is written in blood and binary. You are told that your intelligence belongs to the great leader. You are stripped of your name and given a number. You spend 18 hours a day in a clean room, learning the languages of the West, C++, Python, and the architecture of the SWIFT banking system. You are taught that the digital world is a battlefield, and your keyboard is your rifle. You aren't signing for a career, you are signing for your life. If you succeed, you are a hero of the state. If you fail, you and your family disappear into the gray fog of the labor camps. You enter the Bureau not as a student, but as a digital conscript. You have arrived at the liaison office. You aren't in a sleek, glass-walled tech hub. You are in a crowded, poorly ventilated room in a government-run building where the smell of stale coffee and instant noodles hangs heavy in the air. This is Level 1, the scraper. You are a digital grunt, and your weapon is the fish. You are no longer solving complex math problems for fun. You are a factory worker in a high-volume data mill. Your job is to build the foundation for the state's global heists by harvesting millions of data points from the very world you've been told to hate. The reality is a relentless 16-hour grind of manual labor. You spend your days scraping the internet, collecting email addresses, LinkedIn profiles, and employee directories from Western banks, defense contractors, and cryptocurrency exchanges. You are looking for the entry point. You create thousands of fake social media accounts, meticulously crafting digital personas that look like recruiters, IT support staff, or fellow engineers. You aren't looking for a 0 day yet. You are looking for a human who is tired, curious, or careless enough to click a link. You are a human crawler, feeding the Bureau's hunger for targets. The pressure is suffocating. At Level 1, you have a daily quota. If you don't harvest enough valid leads, your rations are cut. If you make a typo, a phishing email that alerts a target's security team, you are hauled in for re-education. You realize that the state doesn't value your creativity, it values your output. You are a small cog in a massive, industrial-scale deception machine. You watch as the lures you created, fake job offers or urgent security alerts, are sent out in waves, and you wait for the ping that tells you someone, somewhere, has opened the door. The lesson of the scraper is that quantity is its own quality. You see that you don't need a sophisticated exploit to break a billion-dollar company. You just need enough people to try. You learn that the digital grunt is the most important part of the operation because without your data, the heavy hitters have nowhere to strike. You are the one who turns the invisible web into a map for the Bureau's assassins. You have traded your dreams of being a math prodigy for the cold, mechanical efficiency of a state-sponsored predator. The factory floor of the data mill is behind you.
You've been pulled from the rows of scraping grunts and moved into a smaller, quieter room with better hardware and more encrypted bandwidths. This is Level 2, the infiltrator. You are no longer just gathering addresses, you are the one who actually crosses the threshold. In the Bureau, you are an access broker. Your mission is to take the lures created by the grunts and turn them into a backdoor. You are the digital scout who sneaks past the perimeter and leaves the gate unlocked for the heavy hitters. The reality is a high-stakes psychological game played through a keyboard. You aren't just sending emails anymore. You are social engineering specific targets, IT administrators at regional banks in Bangladesh, security officers at cryptocurrency exchanges in South Korea, or defense contractors in the USA. You spend weeks building a relationship with a single person, hiding behind a digital persona that looks exactly like a trusted colleague or a high-paying client. You wait for that one moment of human curiosity or fatigue. You send a harmless PDF that contains a microscopic piece of custom-built malware. When they click, you don't celebrate, you go to work. The risk is the silent alarm. At Level 2, you are a ghost inside a hostile network. You have to move with surgical precision, disabling logs and creating shadow accounts without triggering the target security software. If you are detected, the Bureau doesn't just lose the target, they lose the months of work you've put in. You spend your nights staring at a terminal window, watching the traffic move back and forth, waiting for the perfect node to hijack. You are a predator in the tall grass, and your success depends on your ability to remain completely invisible.
The lesson of the infiltrator is that the human is the weakest link. You realize that no matter how much a bank spends on its firewalls, it can't stop a human from wanting to be helpful or curious. You see that you are the one who turns a billion-dollar fortress into a playground for the state. You learn that your value to the Bureau isn't your coding skill, it's your ability to lie with total digital conviction. You have become a professional in the art of the invasion, and as you secure your first persistent backdoor, you realize that you've just handed the keys of a foreign treasury to your generals. The infiltration is complete. The door is unlocked. Now the Bureau sends in the specialists who turn digital access into physical survival for the state. This is Level 3, the Crypto Heist Specialist. You are no longer interested in emails or blueprints. Your target is the value. In a world of international sanctions and frozen bank accounts, you are the state's primary source of foreign currency. You are the reason the regime can buy fuel, luxury goods, and missile components. You are a digital pirate, and your ocean is the global blockchain. The reality is a cold, mathematical heist conducted with surgical speed. You aren't hacking a person anymore. You are hacking the bridge, the software that connects one cryptocurrency to another. You spend your nights in a high-security war room staring at the raw code of decentralized finance, DeFi protocols. You look for a flash loan vulnerability or a smart contract flaw that allows you to drain a liquidity pool in a single transaction. You move millions of dollars in Ethereum or Bitcoin through a series of mixers, digital laundromats designed to scrub the state's fingerprints from the stolen coins. You are a ghost moving through a digital vault, and every confirm click is a victory for the Bureau. The pressure is high stakes and high reward. At Level 3, you are responsible for the big score. You aren't just a hacker, you are a financial saboteur. You target the SWIFT banking system, the backbone of global commerce, searching for a weak point in a regional bank's terminal. You forge transfer requests that look like legitimate bank-to-bank transactions. You watch the numbers on your screen, $10 million, $50 million, $100 million, and you realize that with a single afternoon of work, you've earned more than your entire city does in a year.
But you also know that the world's cyber police are watching every block on the chain, waiting for you to make one mistake. The lesson of the crypto heist specialist is that money is just a string of numbers. You see that the global financial system is a fragile illusion held together by trust and legacy code. You learn that you can bankrupt a company or fund a regime without ever touching a physical dollar. You are the state's secret weapon, the one who keeps the lights on when the rest of the world tries to turn them off. You have traded your soul for the cold blue glow of a successful drain, and as you watch the stolen millions flow into the state's hidden wallets, you realize you are the most valuable soldier in the army. You have moved beyond the theft of currency and into the creation of digital plague. This is level 4, the payload architect. In the Bureau, you are no longer a user of tools. You are the one who builds the weapons. You are a digital blacksmith, forging the WannaCry-level ransomware and the custom wipers that turn a billion-dollar corporate network into a graveyard of encrypted, useless data. Your job is to create a payload that spreads like a biological virus, autonomous, aggressive, and nearly impossible to stop once the fuse is lit. The reality is a cold clinical obsession with zero-day exploitation and automated propagation. You spend 20 hours a day in a silent, high-spec laboratory staring at the kernel-level code of the world's most popular operating systems. You aren't just looking for a door, you are looking for a way to make the door lock itself behind you. You write worms that scan the internet for a specific vulnerability, jumping from one server to another at the speed of light. You are a digital architect of chaos, designing a system where a single click in a hospital in London can trigger a total blackout in a power plant in Seoul. The stakes are global and catastrophic. At level 4, you are a target of interest for every major intelligence agency on the planet. You are no longer just a hacker, you are a developer of strategic weapons. You watch from your terminal as your child, the code you spent months perfecting, is released into the wild. You see the news reports of grounded airlines, locked-down emergency rooms, and frozen logistics hubs. You are the invisible hand that can paralyze a nation's economy without a single soldier crossing a border. You are a ghost with a kill switch, and your only loyalty to the regime that keeps you fed and hidden. The lesson of the payload architect is that code is the ultimate force multiplier. You see that a few thousand lines of well-written malware can do more damage than a squadron of fighter jets. You learn that the world is terrifyingly interconnected, and that its reliance on shared software is its greatest weakness. You are the one who exploits that weakness for the state, and in the world of the Lazarus Group, your ability to build a digital nuke is the only thing that keeps you from the labor camps. You have become a god of the machine, but your throne is a chair in a concrete bunker. The days of staring at raw hex code and debugging 0 days are over. You have ascended to the top of the pyramid. This is level 5, the Bureau Chief. You are no longer a soldier. You are a general in a war that doesn't exist on any map. You sit in a high-security luxury apartment in the capital, provided by a state that treats you like royalty because you are its most profitable asset. You don't type the code anymore. You approve the target list. You are the bridge between the teenage prodigies in the basements and the high-ranking generals in the Ministry of Defense. The reality is a cold, calculated game of global geopolitics. You spend your days in classified briefings, deciding which Western bank to bankrupt or which healthcare system to paralyze to send a message to the UN. You manage task forces spread across safe houses in Southeast Asia and Eastern Europe. You are a CEO of a global criminal enterprise with the full protection of a nuclear-armed state. You oversee the laundering of billions of stolen dollars, ensuring the regime's elite stay wealthy while the rest of the world remains locked out. You are a ghost strategist, moving invisible armies across the invisible web with a single nod. The weight of the golden cage is the price of your power. At level 5, you realize that you are too valuable to ever be free. You have everything: imported luxury cars, high-end electronics, and the finest food, but you can never cross the border.
You are a target for every Western intelligence agency. If you step outside the regime's protection, you will be in a high-security prison before your plane lands. You live in a world of high-tech paranoia, knowing that the Bureau is watching you just as closely as you watch your targets. You are the king of a digital shadow world, but your kingdom is built on a foundation of absolute isolation. The lesson of the Bureau Chief is that survival is the ultimate score. You see that the digital war you've spent your life fighting isn't about ideology, it's about leverage. You learn that in the world of the Lazarus Group, your only loyalty is to the system that keeps you alive. You have traded your name and your freedom for the power to shift the wealth of nations from a leather chair. You are the architect of a dystopian noir reality, and as you watch the next generation of scrapers enter the facility, you realize that the machine you built will outlive you. The cycle is complete. You are no longer the starving student staring at a flickering CRT in a gray classroom. You are a titan of the digital underworld, a man who has siphoned billions from the global economy to keep a regime breathing. But as you stand on the balcony of your high-rise, looking out over a city that remains dark while your servers hum with stolen power, the final truth sets in. In the Lazarus Group, there is no retirement. There is no former operative. You are a permanent shadow, a piece of state-owned hardware that will be used until the circuits fry. The final question remains: who is the master of whom? You've spent your life breaking the world's most secure vaults, but you are the one living in a cage. You have the luxury, the cars, and the imported wine, but you can never walk the streets of the cities you've hacked. You are a ghost, a legend whispered about in Western intelligence briefings, a set of fingerprints on a WannaCry payload that caused global panic. To the world, you are a monster. To the state, you are a tool. To yourself, you are simply the logic of the machine taken to its ultimate conclusion. Suddenly, the encrypted terminal on your desk chirps. It's not an alarm, it's a new requirement. A major Western exchange has just launched a new protocol. There's a flaw in the bridge, a microscopic crack in the smart contract that only someone with your eyes can see. You don't feel excitement, and you don't feel guilt. You only feel the familiar cold pull of the hunt. You sit back down, the vibrant blue light washing over your featureless face one more time. You reach for the keyboard. The Bureau doesn't care about your legacy. It only cares about the next score. You press Enter, and the shadow expands.